Hello, how are you doing? Happy New Year. It's 2025 right now, and I'm so excited because today we're talking about the low buy that I'm doing this year. Talk about every single rule. I've posted a bunch of things on my Instagram if you want to go check that out. It's at Diaries of... Whoa. Sorry, I just choked on my own spit. It's at Diaries of Creativity, and if you're interested, go look at those. But I'm kind of going to talk a little bit more in detail today, a little bit more in depth about my low buy, the rules that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, things like that. And I hate long intros, so let's jump into it. The first thing I want to tackle today is why am I doing a low buy instead of a no buy? Honestly, I just feel like doing a no buy is like way too fucking much. I've done no buy months before, no buy 2 months, but like that's simply like I'm not going to stick to that for an entire 12 months. Like at the end of the day, am a person and I like to be surrounded by things that I love, and I like to spend my money on things that I love, and I have a lot of hobbies. It's in the YouTube title. I very much value creativity, and I do think that having less items does kind of spark creativity because you gotta be a little bit more creative with what you do because you can't spend money. But at the end of the day, like, I think a no buy is way too restrictive, and it's going to result in me like overspending, kind of like a binge when you restrict yourself from eating. I feel like it would lead to something like that for me. Okay, I'm gonna go over a bunch of different sections of my low buy and go over every single rule that I have. So we're gonna talk about like the guidelines that I'm using. I've seen people say they're doing a low buy, but they don't have rules. I think that's very courageous of you. I need a rule. If I can't track it, then how am I gonna know if I'm succeeding or failing, you know? So the first section we have that I have my rules and guidelines in is just my general budget. Previously, my budget has been $200 per week on anything. This is when I was making a full wage, by the way. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be making as much money this year because I think I'm getting laid off. So I'm planning my budget a lot lower, taking that into account. But that was a rolling budget. So if I only spent $50 one week, which was often, the $150 would roll into the next week and would roll into the next week and so on and so forth. So sometimes I would have about $4,000 that I hadn't spent after a bunch of months of like underspending under that budget. And then I'd be able to do things like go on a trip without having to take from my savings account. To do that thing, I'd be able to pay for it with the money I had just accumulated in my checkings account from underspending under my budget. However, for the low buy, my budget's going to be $50 per week. This is for a lot of reasons. Again, one of them being my wage is going to be much lower. Also, I'm going to be buying less things, so I probably shouldn't need as much money. And then also, I don't project to do much traveling this year. Last year was a very travel-heavy year for me. I went on 2 trips abroad, both to Europe. That was really expensive, and I don't really project having to do that this year or wanting to just due to money. So that's why my budget's able to be a bit lower, because the reason it was so high previously, or high for me at least, was because that allowed me to save for traveling like within my checkings account. So my budget is now $50 per month or per week, $200 a month, and that's for everything that I could like want. So again, like going out to eat, going to get coffee, buying any items, going like if I went to the movies or anything like that, all covered within that budget. Anything that's not a bill or essential. Section 2 is clothing. So my clothing rule is I'm going to be spending maximum $50 a month, which is a quarter of my budget. So I definitely won't be spending like actually that much per month, but I think it's good to have there, or maybe I will spend that much per month, I don't know. And then max 2 pieces of clothing per month. And again, both of these are rolling budgets, so if I don't spend any money on clothes and don't buy any clothes in January, then in February I will then have $100 and 4 pieces of clothing I can buy. The average person buys 53 new items of clothing per year, and I'm shooting for 24, so I feel like that's pretty good. I didn't want to restrict this section too much because I do love thrifting. I love thrifting. And so I didn't want it to be like I can only get 1 piece of clothing per month, because honestly, I don't think I'd stick to that. I'm going to try to stop defending myself on every single point and just tell you the point. And if you want to judge me, please put it in the comments. It really helps with engagement. Section 3, the one we've all been waiting for, is books. And this is kind of the reason this low buy idea started, was because my TBR, I have 35 unread books on my TBR. When I posted about this, I had mixed reactions. Some people were like, that is so many books to have unread, but most people were like, that is not that many at all. But for me, that's a lot of books. I don't feel comfortable with it. It makes me feel like gluttonous almost. Like it really makes me feel uncomfortable having that many unread books on my shelf, and then buying more when I have all the books I could read at home. Like I don't need to buy more until those have been read. So out of the 35 books, I have to have 30 of them read before I can buy a new book, or I was gonna say, or bring a new book into my home, but that's not true. Until I can buy or purchase a new book, I have to read 30 out of the 35. However, if I get a book gifted to me, or I get it for free from like a free little library or things like that, I still have to make sure I read those. The general rule is that I can only have 5 unread books before I use my own money to purchase a new book. If Jeremy, my partner, gets me a book for Valentine's Day, that gets added to my total, and I still need to have 5 unread books before I myself can go out and purchase a new book. Whether it be $2 at the thrift store or $30 at an independent bookstore, I can't buy any new books until I have 5 that I haven't read, maximum. This one's gonna be really, really hard. I'm actually quite stressed about it. I think I can do it because I think like at this point I've like talked so loudly about doing it that like it's a pride thing if I don't do it. So I'm definitely gonna do it. Also, I parted my bangs because I was sick of like styling them, and honestly, it's so annoying. Section 4 is tech. This covers like computers, monitors, camera, filming equipment, things like that. And the general rule here is no new tech. And I can replace something. Like, for example, this microphone I got for like $20 like a year ago, and it probably is going to break within the next year, and I'm allowed to replace that with something. I'll probably get like a nicer microphone once this breaks, but for now, this one works fine. I'm not going to be buying anything until I run into an actual issue that needs to be solved with this one. I'm not just going to go out and buy a new microphone because this one, it's doing the job. You can hear me and it's decent quality. There is like a couple items that I might need, and I can use my own discretion for those. Like if I need a certain adapter cord, I just have to exhaust other possibilities first. For example, I actually do need, like it is a need, not a want, a Bluetooth mouse. I had always used a plug-in mouse, but I have a new monitor and it simply doesn't plug in and work with the monitor. It has to be plugged into my laptop, but the cord is not long enough for me to use the mouse and have it be plugged into my laptop. It just doesn't work. It's not long enough. It doesn't work. So I need a Bluetooth mouse that is a USB-A or a USB-C cable, and I don't have that. So I'm exhausting other opportunities first before just buying it online. Like I'm posted in a buy nothing group in my town, seeing if anyone has one, and if I don't get any responses on that in the next couple days, I'll probably look to buy one secondhand or just buy one online. If I need something, I still need to like exhaust my other resources before just buying it online. That's the general rule here. Section 5 is beauty. This one's pretty easy for me. I don't really buy like many new items. Like I don't often feel tempted by beauty items, like basically ever. And the general rule here is that I can replace it if I'm out, but if I'm not out of a product, I can't just go and like buy a product. For example, I currently have this e.l.f. camo blush, and it's fine. I'm probably not gonna repurchase the exact same one once I'm out of it, but it's fine. So until I'm out of this blush, I cannot buy another blush just to try it out, even though I'm not in love with this blush, if that makes sense. This is a pretty easy thing for me to do because my skincare routine has been the same for like 5 years. So I like bulk purchase a lot of it. So I actually shouldn't have to buy any new skincare items for like 6 months because I use exclusively The Ordinary. I have to sneeze. I think that's all. Bless me. Whoa. I use exclusively The Ordinary, and they do a 23% off sale every single November. And so last November, like 2 months ago, I stocked up, which is what I do every single year. And that's the great thing about being someone who doesn't like try a bunch of new beauty products, is that you can actually stock up and take advantage of sales in like a way that's actually saving you money, and you're not just buying things because they're on sale. Like I know what my skin likes. I know what skincare I'm going to be using for the foreseeable future. So I bought like 3 of the face washes and then like 3 of every single serum that I use. And I spent like $150, but honestly, like it's definitely going to save me money in the long run because I was able to get it 23% off, whereas now it's full price. But same rule applies that I can replace anything if I run out of it. Section 6, and this is a hard one for a lot of people, which is eating out or like getting takeout or restaurants in general. I also have like coffee shops included in this section. So my coffee shop budget is $12 per week. My coffee order is like $6. I didn't want to limit myself too much here because I work from home and going out to cafes is absolutely essential for me, like feeling productive. It really, really helps me, and honestly, I don't go out enough. Like, I do not go out enough. So $12 per week is a really good budget for me because if I want to go out twice, that's great. That's like, my matcha is like $5.50, so that is like $6. So that's like 2 matchas for the week. Or if I want to go out more than that and I feel like I'm like really unproductive and I'm not getting much done at home, then I can still go out. I'm just going to spend less. Like, I'll get a drip coffee for like $2 instead of getting a matcha for $6. And then I can still go out more often to a cafe. So I just wanted to like make sure there was some flexibility in there because I don't think I should be limiting the amount that I go out to cafes because it gets me out of the house during the week when I'm working at home talking to a camera all day. And like, I need to leave the house. I don't want to like make it so I can't do that. Then for eating out or like going to restaurants, I have a maximum of 3 times per month on here. This will not be hard for me to keep. Maybe in the summer a little bit more because we go out for like drinks on like patios and stuff. But generally, like, I don't really go out to eat much. I maybe go for like sushi with my friends sometimes. Like, Jeremy and I probably go out like maybe once a month to eat. But usually he pays for it, and that's not count. If he pays for it, that's on him. I'm not counting that in my budget because I didn't pay for it. That, for a lot of people, that'll be much higher if you're doing a low buy, because I know for a lot of people, it's like a pretty bad habit going out to eat. So just make sure to not make it too restrictive. Like, this is a good amount for me to like be cautious while not being overly restrictive. But if 3 times per month seems like impossible to you, then make your number higher. Like, that's totally fine. Section 7 is hobbies. I have the same rule here that I can replace something. Like, for example, I have been loving air dry clay and I've been making a lot of items with it. And I have all the supplies for it, but the one thing that like you actually can like run out of pretty quickly is like the clay itself. And so I'm allowed to replace the clay. If I run out of air dry clay and I want to use air dry clay, I can buy more clay. I think that's very fair. I do not want to like stump my creativity at all. There's so many new air dry clay things that I want to learn about and learn how to do, and I do not want to restrict those in any way. So air dry clay, I can totally just replace that, just like any of the other items. I can replace them when they are finished. I can buy 2 video games for the year. One of these is definitely going to be Stardew Valley, and then something else if I want it. This is a pretty good number for me. I don't think I bought any video games last year, so this is super realistic for me. And I have a couple that are like unplayed still on my Nintendo, so I don't want to like be like, I can buy 6 this year and then like have a bunch that are unplayed. I think 2 is a good number, and honestly, I would love to keep that to only 1, the one being Stardew Valley, but I wanted to give myself a little bit of flex in case there is something else that I find. One of the tough things that I haven't decided on yet for the hobby section is like when I can just try out a new hobby. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be kind of hard to like not be able to like, if I want to try crochet, purchase the crochet supplies. Like, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna go about this. I'm honestly kind of struggling. I think I might just give myself a $20 budget per month that I can spend on hobby items or like craft supplies. And I think that's pretty realistic. And then if I want to get something more, I can like wait a couple months to like make a bigger purchase. But I think $20 per month is a pretty good budget here that I can put on like hobby items. Because again, like I might be unemployed this year. I don't want to like limit myself. So yeah, probably $20 per month will be where I fall for the hobbies, but there is some flex room in there because I'm not entirely sure. So subject to change. Let me know what you would do in the comments because I'm really struggling with this section. Section 8 is apartment items. This one's a little bit more nuanced because I live with my partner and my partner isn't doing this no buy with me, or low buy rather. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, we're only going to do this, 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 and this, when it's like he also has a say and he's not doing this. However, Jeremy lives in a low buy. He lives in like borderline a no buy. This man spends no money. So when I said I was doing a low buy, he was like, all right, sounds good to me. Like, he doesn't care. We do have a couple things we've been wanting, and I don't want to restrict us from adding these things to our home because they are things that we've thought through very thoroughly and we've decided that we want to spend money on eventually and probably soonish. So The general rule for the year is like no new apartment items, but there are exceptions, such as we do want to get some lighting for underneath our kitchen. We've like our kitchen cabinets. We've wanted this for over a year now. We just haven't done it. And so when we eventually do like find a good deal on some lighting, we're gonna buy that and install that. Number 2, a coffee table. We've wanted and needed a new coffee table for a while, and we're actually getting money for that for Christmas. We haven't received that money yet from Jeremy's mom, but she's gonna give us money and we're gonna pick one out. So I don't think this really breaks the low buy because we're not even spending our own money on it, but we will be picking out a new coffee table in the near future. And number 3 is a Christmas tree. We've just really been needing one. The ones we use currently are from my parents from their storage. They gave it to us for free. They served us great for 2 Christmases, but honestly, like, we're ready to have like an actual adult Christmas tree. So we'll probably buy that in the next year or so as well. Again, that one's a little bit more flexible because if my partner really wants something to be added to the apartment and I agree that it's like a good investment, I'm not gonna say no. So there's some room for nuance there. And section 9 in the final section is travel. This one's a hard one and it makes me sad because I don't think I'm gonna have a job. Everyone knows this, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting laid off, even though it's not technically official, but like, I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't want to be in the place where I'm unemployed and don't have money and then I have this like thousands of dollars put into a trip that I have to go on now. I'm not gonna actually have money to spend on the trip doing anything I want to do. Like, just not a financial situation I want to be in. So I'm basically deciding to like not travel this year mostly. But this is also subject to change. Like, I don't want to be like no traveling and then I end up being in a pretty good financial situation and then I feel like I can't travel. If my financial situation changes, then definitely this budget will probably adjust and the traveling will probably adjust and maybe I will save some money for it. But as of now, the kind of like rule for my low buy is like just not traveling and it's going to be the year of staying home. Anyway, I digress. That is all my rules for my low buy this year. I would love to hear if you're doing a low buy, any rules or sections that you think I missed. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. I'm going to update you guys quarterly, at least if not monthly, on how my low buy is going and any updates. I'm definitely going to be updating like weekly over my Instagram at Diaries of Creativity. So if you want to be updated like more frequently, then go over there. But if you're happy with like a quarterly update, then you're fine right here. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so sorry, I feel like I wasn't my usual like peppy self in this video, but I think it's just because I'm like having a lot of like job insecurity right now and I literally feel like nauseous and sick to my stomach constantly. So thank you for hanging out with me, even when I'm not my most peppiest, jokey, fun self. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I cannot emphasize enough how much I appreciate you watching this video. Like, I could literally cry. But like every time I get a message of you guys being like, I love your YouTube. I wait for your upload days every week. And like, it makes me so happy. So thank you for being here. That's all. Bye.